Hello YouTube, Canadian Edge here today, and we are looking at another knife. And the knife that we have on the table is a Buck knife. And Buck has been coming out with some new designs. I don't know if you can see the Buck emblem on there. I believe it's an anvil. Yep, looks like an anvil with a B stamped on it. Buck's been coming out with some new designs, and I've liked a lot of them, and I believe this is a new design for the last year. I could be wrong on that, but I think it is. And this is the Buck Cavalier 264. It has a blade length of 3.6 inches. Closed, it is 4.5 inches. So you're looking at just under 8 inches. Well, I guess 8 inches for that. And the steel on it, it is a 7CR17 with a drop point blade. The weight is 2.8 ounces, so it's a nice light knife. The handle on it, it is anodized aluminum with a carbon fiber inlay on there, and really cool pivot cap on both sides. I like the blue. I hope the blue shows up in the video. And yes, the aluminum, it has a pocket clip, which unfortunately is right hand only, tip up. Not quite deep carry, because you do have a bit of the knife sticking up out of your pocket when it's in your pocket. It is a frame lock as well, and it is flipper opening. And this Buck has been putting some ball bearings in their knives, and liking the pivot with the ball bearings in them. It makes for a nicer knife. It is, oh, it's not on center anymore. It was on center at one point. It's a little off center now. You can see it goes to the left a little bit. And I believe that is due to the frame lock. But it still works fine, and it's not that far off of center that I'm going to worry about it. I think part of it is just, if you look at the frame, there's a bit of a roundness or a convex there due to the frame lock. So otherwise I think it would be fairly centered. There is no blade play, which is nice. Sits in there nice and solid, no up and down, no side to side. So I saw that knife, and right away I thought to myself, you need to pick that knife up. It's a nice looking knife. Let's see what it's size-wise, how it compares to other knives. So this is the Ontario Rat 2. And you can see it has a bit of length on that, and Benchmade bug out. Again, there's a bit of length compared to that. And we'll get some of the bigger knives in here. Oh man, if you don't practice, right? Keep practicing, you guys. So there's the Tenacious, and they are pretty close to the same size. Slightly, a little bit of length maybe. Gonna say they're pretty close. And the Civivi Cogent. And again, pretty much same size. So it's a little on the full size. I guess you'd call it a full size knife. And this knife because of how it looks, would fit into your gentleman's knife category. I think this is a knife that you could easily throw in your pocket when you're going out on the town or out for a dinner or even to wedding or things like that. Let's test the sharpness. See what we have for sharpness. And there's a pretty good edge on that. Get rid of that stuff. And we'll see how it does with good old zip tie. Nice thing about these thinner knives is if you have to get zip ties off of a package, they usually fit in a little better than the bigger ones. And it cuts through there quite easily. And through the nylon cording, okay, no effort involved in that. And the paracord wannabe cuts through that pretty darn easy. So as I was saying, I saw these guys on what was it, Warriors and Wonders, I guess it was. Had them here in Canada. I believe Blade HQ and Knife Center and stuff like that sells them down in the States. And I thought, man, that is a one good looking knife. And I like Buck knives. I find Buck knives to be quite reliable. And from what I hear, their customer service is pretty good. I forgot to mention too, it has a blue spacer at the back. I don't know if you can see that, but the spacer at the back is blue. But Buck knives, I've found them for myself to be reliable and good knives to have. So when I saw this one, I thought, I better add it to the collection and see what it's like. So I like the aesthetics, as I've shared. It's a nice slim design. There's nothing really wow about the blade itself. It's just a nice slim blade with a little bit of a sharpening choil there. But the handle is what did it for me. I like the carbon fiber inlay, like the blue on there, and the aluminum look is a good look on this for me. And the ergonomics on it, it's a comfortable knife in the hand, feels good. This would be a good slicing knife if you're, again, slicing up tomatoes or vegetables or stuff. If you're out camping, you could use this as a everyday carry knife, and it would work. If you have to open packages and letters and stuff like that, works great for that because I have used it for that, and it works really well. It fits in the pocket really nice, which I really like, and you don't even really notice it in your pocket because it's such a slim design. And the flipper tab is pretty minimal. They made it just big enough to grasp with your finger, and so you do notice it a little bit in the pocket, but it's nothing that is definitely obtrusive or anything. And the pivot on it is very nice. I like the pivot. It's quite smooth action and works really well. A couple of the things that I don't like is it is a little slippery to hang on to just because there's no real texturing. The edge on the carbon fiber does give it a little bit of texture, and then on the back side here and the pocket clip also give a little bit of grip, but it is slightly slippery. Not a big deal. And I'm not a super fan of frame locks. I have a couple frame locks, and it's a great idea, but with this one, it slightly pinches the blade. I don't know if you can see that up at this end. So the pivot isn't quite as smooth. It doesn't necessarily interfere a whole lot, but I get a lot of that. And so the pivot isn't quite as smooth. I've had friends try the knife, and they've found too that they don't get it to open all the way the first flick, unless you're used to it and flick it open. But again, those are not deal breakers by any stretch of the imagination. The knife works fine. Once you're used to it, it opens every time. So not the end of the world. And then I've found too with frame locks, and this is maybe just me. No, it's a couple other people too. But one of the things I have to get used to is not pinching down on the frame or on the lock when I open the knife. So that's part of it too, is getting your fingers positioned properly. The pocket clip comes in handy for that, for me, in terms of getting that grip that I might normally have higher on other knives. And so I noticed it with the Natrix. I was pushing on there, and a bigger body knife gives you a little more purchase. So you just have to be careful. That's all. When you're using the knife, that you're not pinching down. Maybe just adjust your grip so you're more down by the pocket clip, and she works beautifully. So yes, it is a very nice knife. I would highly recommend this as an everyday carry. I think Buck did a great job with this knife, and if they can refine their frame lock just a little bit, I think it'll be even better. But if that's the biggest complaint, is that you have to be careful not to pinch it closed with the frame lock for opening, that's not a big deal. That's just getting used to a different system. But it would be nice if maybe they adjusted that a little bit. And maybe other knives, other Cavaliers don't have that problem. Might be just this one. But I have noticed that with a couple other frame locks that I have as well. So not a big deal. It is a good looking knife, comfortable in the hand. This is a knife you could use for a lot of different little tasks and chores and stuff like that, and it would come through for you. Looks good. People will take notice of it, and it's budget friendly too. I think it's in the $50 price range here in Canada, so not super expensive, and you get a Buck knife that looks really nice. So that is the Buck Cavalier 264. Thank you for joining me on this review. Hit a like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I'll be doing another review in a couple days. Until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.